Okay, sup? Another awesome day of life today. Because every day's got to be awesome. Got to make sure doing something, working towards something every day. Sup, Billy Bones? So, I'm gonna tell you guys a little bit about some of the things I've been doing lately, yeah, and some of the things. Universal, and tell you guys about some of the things I got planned for you. So, for the guys who want to watch the PED videos, they have look at Bodybuilding Knowledge Pro. It's a YouTube channel. Okay, so if you want to watch the PED videos with me in them, go to the Bodybuilding Knowledge Bro channel. It's a YouTube channel. Okay? So, for those guys, that's an announcement for you. If you're looking for PED videos. And other things recently, I have been paying attention to what the movements of the aircraft carriers and the ships are in the Middle East, and also in the Pacific Ocean, because there's a bunch of like military stuff that goes on out there, and so I've been paying attention to their movement, and like China trying to take over parts of the Philippines and Vietnam. China, like even while I was out there in the Philippines, China was kicking out these fishermen from the Philippines from their islands that they controlled. And the fishermen, they had to like go elsewhere because the Chinese military came and they were like kicking you out of your island. And so this is the South China Sea. So I was there. You guys probably heard about this in the news, but I was there in the countries when China started doing this, or the South China Sea. So everybody, each country has like a 400-kilometer area like around their shore, where that's like international. That's like their water, right? And then anything that's within that much of their shore is their water, and then everything else is international. And that's why the U.S. does the freedom of navigation stuff. They do those exercises where they go through areas with their warships to maintain that international law. That other than like I'm not sure on the exact number, but I think it's 440 kilometers off the shore of any country. That's your water, right? And other countries, they can't be trying to do anything to make profits in there. So the U.S. will take ships around there. And anyways, what China did when I was in the Philippines was they started taking ships into these islands that were within the Philippines 440, I think that's the number, kilometer zone. And they started building military bases and installing like missile launchers and anti-air defense missile launchers on these islands, military equipment. They started making islands they're in this disputed zone, and they're kicking out these fishermen from the Philippines. And so while I was there, Rodrigo Duterte, who is the president there, 40 kilometers, yeah, Billy, I knew it was something with a 4. Billy Rones said he thinks it's 40 kilometers, so that's definitely a possibility. So Duterte, when I was there, he went from being friends with the Chinese President Xi to being like, they're like in arch enemies and big tensions and like having like war and stuff. And like they're even saying it'll be a suicidal war because the Chinese military is so much more powerful than the Philippines military. They know that, but they're like saying like, we don't care if you don't like stop encroaching on our islands, then we're gonna and in our territory, in this disputed sea, then we're gonna do suicide attack with our military against you. That's what they're saying to China. That's what Duterte is saying. So that was a pretty interesting thing going on when I was in the Philippines, because I was right, I was right there. And so I got an inside look at how all that was going on. So that's some of the things that I've been doing lately, is following the movements of those ships. Other things that I've been doing lately, I will be bringing more workout videos to you soon. And they're going to be workout tips that are going to be similar to my PED tips. They're stuff that is very logical and really broken down to help you really get the most out of your muscles during your workouts, because you're in the gym trying to train your muscles. And a lot of guys are doing who knows what the fuck they're doing. Or they need some little tweaks to really put the tension on their muscles instead of some other things. Universal Jazz is asking if there is, he said that's a bummer, isn't there a law that prevents that? Yes, there is. So that's why the U.S. in the news, you know how they talk about, yeah, the U.S. is sailing like an aircraft carrier through the South China Sea right now for freedom of navigation exercises. That's what that's doing, is trying to enforce that international law by sailing through. And so right now what China is doing is they're trying to actually make it so that they actually own that South China Sea, that area that is under China, and then has Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Malaysia, Indonesia, the Philippines. All of them they all have the South China Sea on their borders. And China is they're making artificial man-made islands in the sea, in that place, in those other people's areas, and then putting military equipment on these artificial islands that they build out there. And now what they've stated and said is that anybody that comes through here, they have to radio us. This is no longer international waters. And so the US is saying, no, we're not doing that. And so that's why in the news you hear them saying they're going through the South China Sea. It's for freedom of navigation. And they're usually like escorted by, like a Filipino military ship or a Japanese military ship or something, like, because that's what everybody's doing. It's supposed to be an international waterway where anybody can go through. There's not supposed to be military bases out there and stuff. What China is doing, that is illegal. That's exactly right. Yeah. So, you know what? Remember when I made that video on the nuclear bomb, and how like what it takes to build one, like, and then like how terrorists could get a hold of one and stuff, or how they could build one. If you guys haven't watched that, you need to watch that video. Because there's like a lot of tensions in the world that are like really like pushed under the rug. It's like how Donald Trump is president and he said he's like going to drain the sewer, right? Well, he is doing a good job of doing that, because it really is a freaking sewer. Like, for example, Hillary Clinton, before she left office, sold 30% of the rights to America's uranium mining, which is the material that you need to build nuclear bombs, to Russia. So now America doesn't control 30% of its material to build nuclear bombs anymore, because Hillary sold it to, it's called Uranium One Mining Industries. She sold it to Russia, and they gave her a bunch of money through a dark infusion into her bank account. And so it's one of the last things she did before she left office. And Obama went over to the Middle East and deposited billions of dollars over there before he left office in cash. A lot of really, really dark things happening in America. A lot of really dark things happening in the world. So I thought it was really interesting, Universal, when you asked that question, like, isn't there a law or something that prevents that? And it's like, yeah, there is. Okay? And so this is one of the things, is that you never heard about this until Donald Trump was president. You never heard about this stuff because the media and everything was so was so aligned and coordinated with the political structure. And so this stuff was going on, like China building these islands out there in the South China Sea and installing missile launcher bases on them. And we were doing nothing about it. Okay, so this went on for the last 15 years. And we weren't conducting our freedom of navigation exercises, and we weren't challenging them. We just let them build these islands out there and put missile launchers on them. And nobody else patrols those seas like with really powerful ships and stuff. So it's not like anybody else does it, because everybody looks like America is the leader of NATO and everything, and also they fund all of NATO and do all the money for it. All the other countries take advantage of them. So that's why this insane stuff happens. And so when you have, there are people in this world who want power. That's always the way it's been, and it's always the way it's going to be. And so when there's a power vacuum like that, where America has been like the most powerful like that, but then they're behaving in a way that is like, it's not congruent with being in that most powerful seat, then competitors that want power then rise up. And so that's why you get like military expansion and territorial expansion and things like this of other nations. So that's the story on that, and that's the story of when I was down there in those countries, those people dealing with that and actually directly being affected by it. Like, they couldn't fish in their areas that they had been fishing in for like 200 years because their territory is getting taken over by military. And yeah, I do think that Donald Trump will be elected president again. I think, America, since I've been back, it has really been, nothing changed for the better while I was gone. Except for, things changed for the better while I was gone because the political structure changed a bit. But like the overriding tone, it's like the country is headed towards a very dark path, and you can feel it. You can feel that it's like the older generation, the older, wiser generation, like holding things down. Like the reason why, like everything is still okay, is because this older, wiser generation who's like older than my group, and older than my group and older, maybe like 1 decade older than me, and then older. The majority of them are they're more rational and sound and with it than the people my age, 30 and younger. And when those people in these older generations are no longer, making up a substantial part of the population anymore, and bad news, it's going to be bad news. Like, can you see like some of the stuff that they have on TV? Like when you watch it, like all the pictures that they're like flashing and like images that they flash in front of your eyes. It's like, it's never like conservative, strong, traditional values or like promoting like a good, like healthy family. It's always like a total mockery, like making a mockery of like the father and like having the mother be like neglectful of the children and like abusing the father, and children are like little assholes who are like disrespectful to their parents, and they'll be like flashing images. Like this is when you're watching TV. If you just like look, if you try and slow TV down and look at the different images that they keep flashing in front of your faces, they'll be like flashing like softcore like porn in front of your eyes and stuff. And they'll be hitting you with advertisements and people with big eyes coming at you and shit. It's just bad, man. I actually watch the commercials and I watch the marketing that I see on TV because I'm into psychology, and that's very heavily related to biological psychology, which is my favorite. And so those quick images, they're really they got to hit on your biological senses. And so it's really interesting to see to me what kind of ads people put up and what works. Someone asked, can I elaborate on Dr. Tony Huge? I said that I wasn't going to talk about that anymore, but maybe I didn't do it on here. And I deleted a video. You know what? The way it was is that we were friends for a long time, and the way, what happened to me and him between when I went to the hospital until after the LA Fit Expo, right when, like a month or 2 months after I got out of the hospital. Between that period of time, I found out that we're not friends, okay? That's during that time, enough happened between us that I figured it's not a two-way relationship, and we're not friends. So, and then why I was like blowing my top a little bit was because I had some pent-up feelings of betrayal that I had been holding in for months, but I needed time to process them. Hi, Miracle Emery. And so I needed time to process them, but now they're processed, and I got a little bit of it out, and now I'm done with that negativity. So, not going to be talking about that anymore. Hope that clears that up. How are you guys liking? I'm thinking, you know what? This thing right here, this beard, I figured out that it's powerful. Okay, people treat me different since I grew this thing. You know how I told you that people treat me different since I started using hormones? Since I started using hormones to grow my muscles. It talks about this in the book. People treat me different. That's one of the reasons. Thanks, you like the beard. That's one of the reasons why, because like the way that I like to use the hormones is as a lifestyle thing. That's why I don't want to go up too fast and come down too fast. I just want to go up to a nice median area now, around 200 pounds. Right now, 215, coming down in weight, doing my cardio. Do not buy growth hormone in the pharmacies in Thailand. It's probably better. I wouldn't trust it. But yeah, so the beard. Told you people treat me different since I started using hormones years ago. Well, you know what? I grew a big beard for the first time. I've grown it like a beard before, but not like this, never. People treat me different. This thing, it's funny, man. Like, experimenting with like psychology like this and seeing like how people's reactions are and stuff. And then when you're acting with people, how they treat you and stuff. Like you can do things like taking hormones or growing a beard. Or, shaving your head. And it affects the way that people treat you. It's very funny and it's very interesting. So that's why I'm keeping the beard. I'll tell you where it first came from. So this girl that I was dating in LA, when I showed you guys my house in LA, my box house. So I was like, usually, so see, I can grow like a lot of facial hair, and so I know some girls like facial hair and some don't. So when I'm dating them, usually they always say something because if a couple days I don't shave or something, they'll say like, oh, I like that, or oh, you didn't shave, like I prefer it clean shaven or something. And so just because I don't care either way, really, I would always just as a favor, I've just done this. Like usually I don't do stuff like this, but for this one specific thing, this is my nice guy. This is my nice guy. I'll do my facial hair the way you want, baby. So She told me she liked beards, and so I was like, all right, I'll stop shaving. So I stopped shaving, and then after a while, I figured out I didn't like her, and so I stopped calling her. But you know what? During that time, I figured out I liked the beard. So I've been growing it ever since. So that was like what? That was like March 20th, I think was the last time I shaved my face. So that's April, May, and then now June 20th. So yeah, it's been about 90 days since the last time I was clean shaven. Nuts. Like that. Makes people treat me different. Isn't that funny? All right, I'm gonna stay on this for about 4 more minutes, okay? And then I'm gonna head out. Yeah, somebody talked about women sensing testosterone. So you do give out like, this is not a joke that humans have pheromones, okay? They're related to your sex steroids actually. And there's activity like when you pick these up with your nose, these scents like it makes people notice and stuff. Like I'm sure you can tell when a girl's looking. You know, I'm not going to talk about that today. Yeah, but I think they're like natural pheromones though. I think it's like people can't like control their pheromones though. And it's like, you know, personally, smell for me is a major requirement in attraction to a woman. So if I don't like the way she smells, it's not gonna work. I'm serious, man. That's important. I've had that happen. So simply because of that, hey, that was pheromones. Because it was like, I don't like the way you smell, therefore I'm not interested. And there's been other girls where, you know what, I do like the way they smell, so I was interested more. Or maybe later one day, years later, I'd smell the smell of that girl's perfume again, that specific one that I remembered. I'd be like, ugh! Took me right back there like I got, as soon as that smell would hit my nose. I remember this happened a few times. I'm sure it's happened to you guys too. As soon as that hits your nose, you're like, boom, like you remember something you haven't thought about for freaking years. Yeah, I know I'm not alone. Okay, last question. Is IGF-1 healthy then? I don't think IGF-1's pretty dangerous. Jayhawks, you agree with me? Yeah. And it looks like Miracle Man too. Yeah, IGF-1's pretty dangerous. Like if you're gonna take something, take growth hormone, okay? Don't try to like replace it. Like everybody's always looking for a replacement for pharmaceutical grade growth hormone and trying to, you know, find something else because it's so expensive. There's nothing else. You just have to either have the money to take that or save the money to take that or not take something for that reason. Because you know what? The growth hormone it's inhibited in its amount, in the amount that it can grow things by conversion to IGF-1, okay? But if you just take straight IGF-1, then you're just injecting something straight into your body that grows things, okay? And it grows things indiscriminately, rather than having your body take a chemical, have the chemical go to the liver, and then the liver transform that thing, or be stimulated to produce another the substance that makes things grow. Instead, you're just injecting this substance straight into you that makes things grow. So it's far more reckless to take IGF-1. It's far more reckless than it is to take growth hormone. And like I said in the book, there's no substitute. And that's what the people who, they look unreal. They look like alien. They look like they're from another planet. That's what they use, okay? So if that's what you're looking to do, there is no substitute. Yeah, absolutely, Rich Piana did use IGF-1. And IGF-1 grows muscle probably better than growth hormone does because of the reasons that I said. Because you inject something that grows things directly into you rather than directing a precursor to something that grows things. So yeah, I agree. I think it's more powerful at growing muscle, yes. And it's also more dangerous because it does it indiscriminately. And with that, I'm gonna leave you guys for today. Dan the bodybuilder from Thailand.